We are looking at a total of almost 200,000 cases that are confirmed worldwide. Total deaths, 7,948. Total recovered, 81,000. If we look at Italy, we have 31,506 cases and 2,500 deaths. If we compare that to, for instance, South Korea, which has done extensive testing and has, despite that, only about a fourth of the cases and only 84 deaths. Interesting numbers. The United States has 6,362 confirmed, with 108 deaths and 17 total that have recovered. Basically, what it shows is that at a single point where this virus started and we expanded out, there was a point where the travel ban went into effect in China. What they did is they used Bayesian statistics to try to figure out how many people went undiagnosed. These people here did not get tested for COVID-19, so they didn't know that they had it. Had these people known, the number of cases in China would have dropped by 79%, and the number of cases in Wuhan would have dropped by 66%. So let's show you this article. Published in Science, our findings indicate containment of the virus will be particularly challenging. The best way to flatten the curve is to isolate. Otherwise, you might be having a similar situation to what is going on in Italy at this time. An article that was published in today's edition of a French publication called The Connection. French researcher posts successful COVID-19 drug trial. I don't know if this has been peer-reviewed or even published in a journal, but it is a newspaper article that talks about a renowned research professor in Marseille, France, by the name of Professor Raoult. There is a medication, of course, chloroquine and hydroxychloroquine, which is marketed as Plaquenil. And what they say here is that they took 24 patients who were among the first patients to become infected in southeast France, and the patients were given 600 micrograms per day for 10 days. They were able to ascertain that patients who had not received Plaquenil, which is the drug, were still contagious after 6 days. But of those that had received Plaquenil, only 25% were still contagious. Caution here because we don't actually have the peer-reviewed data, but this is an interesting finding as it may represent the first glimpse into some of the trials that will be coming out in the next few months. Here is similar news on another French news site, coronavirus. Hydroxychloroquine would be effective according to Professor Raoult. The professor presented the first results of the clinical test with hydroxychloroquine, and the results are even more promising with hydroxychloroquine and azithromycin. There are some indications that azithromycin may have anti-inflammatory properties, and apparently the government was impressed enough to extend this test to other hospitals to test its effectiveness on a much larger scale. We know that South Korea has used this medication early with extensive testing. The mortality, or the number of deaths divided by the number of confirmed cases, is quite small. In fact, it's about 1%. And makes one wonder if chloroquine is part of that calculus.